Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the World Might Be Safe. We're not sure yet. We'll know in a few days. We've already determined who got more votes, but we've still got this stupid electoral college thing so Montana doesn't feel left out. Edition of the Jim Cornette Experience. Ladies and gentlemen, we will talk about it. We're keeping our fingers crossed. The world may be safe for democracy. And to join me, Hawaiian Brian, the podcasting lion, the king of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network, Mr. Co-host to you, the Steve Kornacki of wrestling podcasters, the great Brian Last.
Aloha, Jim. A pleasure to be here once again. I actually just finished a book that came out a couple years ago that Steve Kornacki wrote, The Red and the Blue. Fantastic book. A look at how we ended up in the current political climate we're in now based on a lot of the things that happened in the 1990s and 1980s.
We have gone from the red and blue to the black and blue.
That's pretty
and
good.
No matter who wins, we all have a black eye. We're gonna talk about this and what really happened in this election. But the most important question gripping us all, especially me, the most important thing I need to know: did you get your coffee, Brian?
Yeah, I indeed did get my coffee from Dunkin' Donuts a few hours ago, yes.
I'm going to share with the Cult of Cornette listeners
this is ridiculous.
Just a remark that was made earlier today as we were facing the prospect. Everybody's been going without a lot of sleep, sitting on pins and needles and pins. When one trouble ends, another begins. And we haven't got a lot of sleep, and you call me on the telephone this morning and you say, well, before we watch these professional athletes on these fine wrestling programs that we're going to talk about today on our program, the Wednesday Night Wars, goddamn, it's like Nightline now, week 742 or whatever. You had to get some coffee. I said, can't you just go in the kitchen and get you a cup of coffee, Brian? If you need the artificial stimulation and pick me up, I'm all natural here. I live and thrive on my own natural energy.
That's the amazing thing. Let me stop you right there. Because I've never known you. Let me rephrase that. I haven't known you during... Let me rephrase that once again. I didn't know you during the time in your life where you actually consumed caffeine. I can't imagine.
Well, and even then, it was only in the Pepsi. It was only in the Pepsi. It's not like in the coffee, which is just even more nasty. Because I've shared with you the fact that I've had a total of 2 sips of coffee in my entire life. It tasted like Mississippi mud blended up with cat piss, and it smells bad enough to bluff a buzzard off a gut wagon.
You may be doing it wrong.
What, drinking? I've been doing that all my life. It's not that
Where'd you get those 2 sips?
Oh, good Lord. It's been back in my teenage years.
Things have changed.
Well, nevertheless, we're back to you there, Skippy.
Damn it.
Yeah. See, you're trying to swerve these people around from the real point of this thing. I said, why don't you just motivate and ambulate yourself, Brian Last, into your kitchen and get you a cup of coffee, because you're saying, I got to go out. I got to go. Suzanne's not here. And I said, well, I've seen these commercials on television where they make these coffee maker things, and I don't know how to use them, but it seems easy on the TV, where they just press a button and it boils something and it spits out the coffee, and there you go. If you're going to consume such a thing, it doesn't seem to be a complicated thing that you would need to leave your house and travel for, especially if you were pressed on time. What did you say to me, Brian Last?
I don't remember what I said to you.
I'll tell you what you said. Well, now, by the time that I find out if we got the right coffee blend, and then I find out if we got and where Suzanne might have put the cream, she got the bad sugar or the good sugar, and well, then I'd have to make it, man. They know when I go down the road to Starbuckles, well, they know.
No.
Right when I'm coming up, or where is it?
Dunkin' Donuts. It's never Starbucks.
Dunkin' Donuts.
That's
you don't even go to a fucking coffee special place like Starbucks. You just go to goddamn Dunkin' Donuts.
They are known for their special coffee.
They blend it and they do this and that and they got the thing and they pour it in and they hand it to me and I take off. You're leaving your home and you're driving down the road. You're going out in a pandemic, risking your life on the open highways of America for a cup of coffee you could pour for yourself in your kitchen.
Do I get to respond?
Please do.
Few things. Now, this doesn't help my argument, but I was thinking about it while you were saying all that. I think we have 4 different coffee machines in the kitchen. Because there's one for whole beans.
What?
And then there's the Nespresso, and then I really wasn't digging the Nespresso, so we got a Keurig, the K-Cups, one of those, and then we have one that you could just put ground coffee beans in, and it makes you coffee. That's the one I prefer, because the ones that are like the pre-prepared K-Cups or Nespresso's actually pretty good. Now that I've gone the K-Cup route for a while, I miss Nespresso, but I don't have any active pods of that in the kitchen.
Active pods? What is this, a science fiction movie? There's no active pods in the kitchen? I thought you were growing replicas of your children.
I needed enough coffee to get me through for a while, and I didn't think I would get enough of that out of the K-Cup. So yes, I chose Dunkin' Donuts. And yes, it is delicious, and they have fantastic coffee. And I like it a whole lot more than those snooty fucks over at Starbucks. And by the way, not only is it great coffee, not only do they have curbside, so I don't have to get out of my car, I just pull up and press a button on the app and they run out with my coffee and my bagels, but also I'm a shareholder of Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm very, very happy with Dunkin' Donuts right now.
Wait a minute, you own stock in Dunkin' Donuts?
Let me tell you something. I bought stock in Dunkin' Donuts right after it had its IPO, which is not 8 or 9 years ago. And I think it was...
Oh, that was right before the big donut bubble popped, wasn't it?
Well, I think it was around $20 a share when I bought it. It's at $106 a share right now, and it's about to be sold, allegedly.
You know why?
So I've made a bloody fortune off those donuts and that coffee, and I love those people.
It's $100 a share because suckers like you leaving their homes and driving out in the middle of a pandemic just to get a cup of coffee you could make at home.
Curbside.
With 4 coffee makers in your kitchen.
I didn't go in. It was curbside. They bring it to me.
What if you're in a traffic accident?
What? On the way to Dunkin' Donuts? What if I'm in a traffic accident and go to the post office?
Your dying thought, it'd be running across your mind. Your life wouldn't be flashing across your mind. Your loved ones wouldn't be flashing across your mind. It'd be flashing across your mind while you're sitting there. You've been caved in half by this car wreck. And whenever they bring the jaws of life to pry you out and move the lid of the car, your intestines are going to spew out like the fountain at Caesar's palace, and that'll be it. And the last thought going through your mind, Brian Lass, is going to be, I should have just used one of them 4 fucking coffee makers instead of coming down here to Dunkin' Donuts for a cup of fucking coffee.
No, it won't. My last thought will be, oh my God, I've made over $80 a share. I have bought a ton of these shares. I can now get the finest doctor in the world if I dump some of this stock to come in here and help me out with all my needs. I could be like RoboCop.
Well, he better hurry up because your intestines are scheduled to go off in 10 minutes. You know, one time a guy gave me one of the cups of coffee I had. I took a sip. He said, here, try this fresh coffee. And I took a big swig of it. I said, that coffee tastes like mud. He said, it should. It was ground this morning.
That's very funny.
Anyway.
By the way, a lesson for all you kids out there wanting to get into the market. Be an investor, not a trader. Hold on to the stock. Look into value investing. Do things the right way. That's it. That's the rest of my public service announcement. It's over.
Thank you for that episode of Mad Money, Brian Kramer.
Oh, no, I hate that guy. That guy's an asshole.
Well, yes, I didn't say he wasn't. I'm not. That doesn't necessarily preclude you being one either these days with your fucking stock tip.
Here's my next piece of advice. Don't watch Jim Cramer and Mad Money. That guy's a dick.
He's got better sound effects than we do.
He sucks. That show sucks.
Well, I haven't had time to watch Mad Money because we've been glued to the screen, you and I both. I made it longer than you did, and I'm an old man. But I will mention before we do that I said I went to the post office on Wednesday morning and shipped a shitload of shit. If you have gone to JimCornette.com, clicked on collectibles, and perused all the fine merchandise contained therein, at fine quality merchandise at affordable prices and purchased some of that, you will be happy to know that if you did it through, I sound like Lance Russell now, through Tuesday morning, domestically in the United States, your packages have been shipped. International packages will be shipped by Saturday morning, November the 7th. So we're cooking. We've got the assembly line going, and we're ready to go. But remember, Christmas is coming. The mail may quicken up a bit now that the election is over, but we're getting closer to the holidays. Don't make me come down your chimneys on Christmas Eve, or I will throw your milk at you and crumble your cookies on the carpet. But if you want Jim Cornette face masks, or thank you, fuck you, bye face masks, the fine quality t-shirts, the burger towels, the books, the classic wrestling DVDs, the graphic novels, everything autographed personally, fine quality merchandise, affordable prices, personal service. What more can one man do? JimCornette.com. Send me your money now for Christmas, and I'll send you your shit as swiftly as I can. And don't forget, by the way, it's good also for stocking stuffers for friends that like wrestling, or if you know somebody that hates me really bad, buy them a bunch of my shit and send it to them and see how bad it makes them feel. Because that's if you dislike them also. Maybe even if you like them, but you're just a prick. Because now we know 1 out of 2 people out there is a fucking asshole. What do we got going on, Brian?
Well, Jim, I did want to bring something up to you that normally we would save for the drive-thru, and although I'm sure we'll get some questions on the drive-thru, because we are reviewing AEW Full Gear on the drive-thru this week, we're not going to have as many questions, so if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a question or two here today on the experience.
Well, I guess, because we want to give the people their money's worth, and they certainly won't get it out of Full Gear. Possibly our review, maybe, but anyway, go ahead.
Well, this question was sent to cornydrivethru@gmail.com from Sam in Toronto. What are your thoughts on Cody Rhodes getting his name back?
Oh, okay. Short question. To the point. We like it here. We like it like that. To the point. I'm happy for him. I mean, it's his. It should be his name. He of all people should be able to call himself Cody Rhodes. And I couldn't believe that they didn't consider that loophole when he didn't start working somehow under that name before the contract or whatever. But regardless of what I think about the program that he's currently on, he's one of the high spots on it normally. But yeah, he deserves it. Dusty created it, and he's Dusty's son. But now, did I see that? Is there a loophole? He's not going to use it in wrestling, but he's going to use it in TV or entertainment or whatever. Maybe that's the settlement. Maybe that's. I didn't see that. I didn't know about that. I read something about that he said, well, maybe I still won't use it in wrestling. Like maybe that might have been part of the settlement, which I think is pretty damn shitty on the WWE's part if that is. But for fuck's sake, everybody knows he's Dusty's son, and it should be his name.
Meanwhile, he's been saying forever that he could use it whenever he wants, and he chose not to, which it turns out may or may not be true.
Well, I always thought that he couldn't use it, which is why he wasn't using it. So, I don't know. Conflicting reports.
You got to admit, I mean, some guys could pull off the single name thing. Cody Rhodes versus Steve Austin. Or Cody versus Steve Austin. To me, it doesn't pass the name test.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's not a single name. That of all, most times single names are not names unless it's the something. It's just unless you're Liberace or Cher.
Toya Nobori.
See what I mean? But I'm happy for Cody. And hopefully he'll use it wrestling, because once again, the name test. Or maybe he can change it to Tits McGee. Who knows? Just at least have 2 names. I don't know.
I heard WWE agreed to drop their claim on Rhodes and let him be Cody Rhodes if Brandy agreed to never call herself a Rhodes ever again. And maybe just a rumor. I don't know. But no, Cody dropped his claims. He was trying to trademark anything his father had anything to do with. Like the Match Beyond and Slamboree. I just saw that he dropped those because WWE was contesting those.
Well, but I don't blame him.
I got to admit, I don't think he has any rights to those.
Well, but here's the thing. Maybe that was part of the day. Drop trying to trademark everything and we'll just let you have this thing. I don't know. Have no idea. No inner knowledge of this. But if they were Dusty's ideas, which they were, and he just never trademarked them because you didn't do that back then. Even Jim Crockett didn't. Jim Crockett Promotions could have trademarked them because he was their booker. But
that's the thing. Jim Crockett Promotions or WCW would have had those under their umbrella as intellectual property because Dusty was being paid to contribute that to them. It wasn't something Dusty had independent of the executive position he had for Jim Crockett Promotions and then later WCW.
But they never trademarked them.
I don't know. I don't know if Slamboree
no,
was
Jim Crockett Promotions never trademarked
Jim Crockett
anything,
Promotions, but Slamboree wasn't until 1993.
Okay, but I'm just saying, for all the Crockett stuff, and then actually, if WCW didn't trademark the things then or let the trademark expire, then they're not in business anymore. If WWE bought, we might have to get Stephen P. New on the phone. If WWE bought WCW, they got everything, all their intellectual property, everything they owned, had ownership of or trademark on at the time. But then, if they didn't trademark those things or didn't keep them up, then that wouldn't have been part of the deal. And in that case, then, I say that Cody Rhodes has as much right as anybody to go establish a trademark on those things that his father created. Prove me wrong.
You know, he's now calling himself the Prince of Wrestling. I don't think that passes the name test either. The King of Wrestling. Wow, this guy thinks he's the king. Who the hell is he? The Prince of Wrestling. I don't know.
Hey, at least it's better than the Duke of Dorchester.
Is it? But is it?
No, actually, I don't know. No, the Prince of Wrestling sounds a little hoity-toity. Hey, we're by the way, before we get back on this, hold that thought. We're doing stand-up interviews in Memphis at the Coliseum one night, right? And Lance we get there at 6:00 and we do interviews for an hour and a half for the local towns. And Lance is in front of a black sheet with a microphone. Randy West is running the camera. And we all sit there and Dundee tells us who's going to pop up. And Lance reads the card and then we go in and do the promo on our match. But Lance is reading the cards. I'm managing Duke Myers, you're a Calgary standout, was a big star in Tennessee years ago. And also at the time, Tommy Gilbert was under a hood, a mask, as the Ace of Spades.
That's right.
And so Lance is running down the card and he says, and Bobby Fulton faces the Ace of Spades. Terry Taylor takes on the Duke of Myers. And so I came in singing, Duke, Duke, Duke. Duke of Myers, Duke, Duke. Terry Taylor, you're going to feel those Dukes. And we didn't have a lot of time for retakes.
That reminds me, I have a promo somewhere that I love. It's from 83 Mid-Atlantic. It's Bill Ward doing the promos, and he brings in Dick Slater and Bob Orton Jr., who were, a great heel tag team at various points from the mid-'70s on. And he says, come on in, Dick Slater, Dory Funk Jr., and Dick Slater's talking. The whole time, Bob Orton's just standing there, his arms are crossed, doesn't say a word, and then finally at the end he goes, Bill Ward, do I look asleep? He said, no. Says, don't call me Dory Funk Jr. He walks off. But what I was going to say before with Cody, we keep seeing these commercials for whatever this show was, the reason he dropped the TNT title and dyed his hair black for 2 weeks, because he went off to film this show. Is it airing yet? When does this show air? We've been seeing commercials for like 2 months, it seems like.
I'm not into that particular department.
He's Cody Rhodes in those commercials.
Well, good, because he can be now. So that's the kind of questions we have on the drive-thru, folks.
Oh, it's a great show. Check it out.
It's a great show. As a matter of fact, the star of the drive-thru is Charlie from Starkville, Mississippi, who asked just the greatest questions, according to Brian Last, who he takes kickbacks from. But anyway, Charlie actually emailed me instead of you this week. So he's playing both sides here. But the bone of contention was that I believe on this past week's program, I stirred you up. I said, well, why didn't Charlie just send in the musical submissions that we play on the drive-thru also? And then he'd just have a part in every bit of the program, right? Charlie did write in and say, hi, Jim. Sorry for no musical submissions. We aren't a very musical family. Grandpa Charlie from Starkville played a mean washboard, though. He'd cut up on a Saturday night in the holler. He also liked to send telegrams of questions to his favorite radio show. Thanks, Charlie from Starkville, Mississippi.
Charlie sent the exact same email to cornydrivethrough@gmail.com.
Well, then you should have read it before I did.
Sorry for no musical submissions. We aren't a very musical family. Grandpa Charlie from Starkville played a mean washboard, though. He cut up on a Saturday night in the holler. He'd also like to send telegrams of questions to his favorite radio show. Thanks, Charlie in Starkville, Mississippi.
I just read that.
He's a traitor.
That's exactly what I just read, though. Now you're doing reruns here on a first-run program.
Traitor. By the way, is he the star of the drive-thru, or is Einar the star of the drive-thru right now?
Well, Einar is like our John Williams of the of the drive-thru, and or maybe even the Walter Murphy. But anyway, but that's the thing, down in Starkville, they don't have a lot to do. As a matter of fact, I understand, Brian, the polls are just in. The polls are usually right, not always. But the polls are in, and did you know that Starkville, Mississippi is the ball shaving capital of the world?
No, I did not know that.
You were not aware that more people per capita in Starkville, Mississippi shave their balls on a regular basis than anywhere else in the United States of America.
For some reason, Charlie has not sent in any questions about that.
Well, that's because he's got it all under control, because he's been listening to this program since the start, and he knows about our friends at Manscaped. And since Charlie makes up predominantly the entire population of Starkville, Mississippi, because he shaves his balls regularly, it looks better on the whole town. And it probably smells better, too. Folks, our friends at Manscaped offer all your fine grooming products for the nether regions, the crotchal area, all the way up the Tank Trail and into the Hershey Highway. No matter what you need to clean out or spread out and just give a good whiff of and make sure it doesn't stink, the folks at Manscaped can help you out. From the most fabulous personal grooming product ever made, the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer, waterproof. It's got an LED light. You can see past all the cracks and crevices, through all the crannies, into all the wrinkles and the little corridors that you get in those areas. You can see it with the LED light. You can shave it with the trimmer, and you can't nick yourself because it has that nick-proof technology. Also, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. Holy mackerel. So I'll tell you, when I was a kid, it used to take me forever taking tweezers or my thumb and forefinger and pulling my nose hairs out one at a time. But fortunately, last week I was able to quit that shit because the Weed Whacker ear and nose trimmer, it's easier on you, let me tell you that. Also, there's the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, the Crop Reviver Ball Toner, the Crop Mop Ball Wipes, so you can be ready to think on your feet and then get horizontal in the twinkling of an eye if something comes up. Folks, Manscaped even has refined cologne with a clean and fresh scent designed for a gentleman who wants to get laid. On top of everything, they throw in the travel bag to carry your goods, not those goods, but the Manscaped goods, and anti-chafing boxer briefs, so Mr. Johnson and the twins can swing free whenever they want. And you can get 20% off and free shipping with the code JCE at manscaped.com. So during the winter, you don't want those balls frozen, but you do want them clean. And you want them smelling good. You might as well make them look nice while you're at it, just in case somebody might see them. These accidents do take place. 20% off, free shipping with the code JCE at manscaped.com. I got another email.
Oh, fantastic.
This actually, in all seriousness, it follows up on, we did a large portion of the show last week on Tracy Smothers. And I don't know whether this guy wants me to use his name or not, but I will because I remember him. Corey Williams. He worked in the USWA for a while in the 90s, and I've worked on shows with him on a few different occasions. But Corey wrote, "This is not a question, but a confessional. I broke into the business in 1994 in the USWA with Eddie Marlin and have met you on a couple of occasions. My Tracy Smothers story is one Tuesday I was booked at the Louisville Gardens, and I just started and was serious about the business, but I didn't have enough gas to make it from Nashville to Louisville. And every Tuesday, the guys would leave Nashville and drive up I-65 to Louisville. It's about 180 miles, about 3 hours. But where exit 76 is, just so everybody knows out there, is about 60 miles from downtown Louisville. So Corey, he almost got there. He said, I didn't have enough gas to make it from Nashville to Louisville, so I pulled into a gas station at exit 76 in Upton and tried to negotiate a deal with the gas station attendant there, even offering my driver's license as collateral for $10 in gas to make it to my booking. Soon after that, Tracy pulled in for a restroom break and saw me, and I explained my situation, and Tracy gave me $20. I told him that I'd give it back to him when I got my draw that night, and he asked me when was my birthday. This was in June or July. I told him my birthday was in March, and Tracy just looked at me and said, happy birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that, so, just to follow up, when I got this, I saw it, I wanted to read it, because that's kind of emblematic of Tracy and the way, and he wasn't making a fortune back then. This was in the USWA SMW feuding days. He wasn't on a big contract, but he knew he'd also been in Corey's position, and he knew what it was like. So anyway, what do you got now? More drive-through material?
Oh, I can if you want more drive-through material.
One more. Give me one more question so we can prolong the inevitable until we start reviewing these programs.
Let me go to a different one. We got a lot of questions about Jericho ruining his legacy, I have to say. Let me get a different one here. There's a lot of these. Wow. All right, here's one for you. This was sent to cornydrivethrough@gmail.com from R.W. Hardy, Sergeant First Class. How do you think Jerry Lawler would have fit in and worked in WCW if he would have went there in 1993 instead of the World Wrestling Federation? Would he have been on the commentating team? Who would you have liked to seen Jerry Lawler work against at that time?
Oh, God. Nobody's ever asked that before. That particular what if Lawler had gone to WCW. I got to be honest, I think they definitely would have had him announcing, which Vince did right off the bat anyway when he came up there. But I think that Vince was convinced, because I'm sure he had never seen Lawler, just like he'd never seen anybody else that never worked there. I'm sure that he was probably convinced to put Lawler in the ring by Jerry Jarrett, who, as we've mentioned, that's one of the things that Jarrett did when he was brought up there to understudy Vince and potentially be the guy to run the company if Vince went to jail in a steroid trial. Jarrett brought Stan Lane in as an announcer because he knew Stan had quit wrestling, but he had that voice. He brought, obviously, Lawler in, and I would think that Vince probably said, wait a minute, the guy is, because he's 44, or whatever he was when he started there, 43 or 44. You want him to wrestle? I can't see Vince having the idea for Lawler to wrestle, but thankfully, he was talked into it because some of the best and most entertaining shit was Lawler and Bret Hart and those angles and programs that they did, and the stuff that Lawler did in the ring for that, a couple of year period before the Attitude Era. That was some of the only entertaining shit on Raw in some cases, and that was a show I was on too, by the way. I don't know, with the way that WCW was being run, they had 100 fucking guys under contract. It was chaos during the Attitude Era. But in 93, there wasn't a ton, as I'm recalling, I'm not saying nobody was good talent in WCW there. I'm saying they weren't overloaded with it. There wasn't a ton of it. Lawler, if you gave Lawler television time, as the WWF run showed, even at that age and in that era, his promos got him over, and his work psychologically got him over, and his work physically was so different that he didn't stand out as better or worse than any of the other guys that were doing completely different shit. It was just different. Does that make any sense to you? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I think it would have been interesting if he went in 93. 93 was the year you had Vader and Cactus Jack, Sting and Davey Boy Smith against Sid Vicious and Vader, where they did the dwarf blew up a boat on the beach.
God, okay, well, all right, then now that I'm reflecting on that talent, maybe like...
Steamboat, Rick Rude. I mean, they had some talent, but then they also had the Cole Twins and Tex Slazenger and Shanghai Pierce, and Dallas Page was not very good.
He wouldn't have been working with those guys anyway. If he'd come in, he would have come in to be featured. He wouldn't come in at all. But when I was saying, oh my God, Vader, Lawler could have probably had one of Vader's greatest matches. And I don't think he would have wanted, because Lawler knows how to work with a monster better than probably almost anybody I've ever seen in business. Even a green monster, much less somebody like Vader. But I don't think Lawler would have wanted to, because Vader would have kicked the shit out of him. And I don't mean in a violent, in an angry way. I mean, just working like Vader. Lawler would be like, Jesus Christ, he avoided Stan Hansen. Now he's got fucking Vader, right? Lawler and Rick Rude would have been fantastic in Memphis. It was in 1984. That was Rude's first spot as a main event guy. He and Lawler did a program, but both of them were heels. It wouldn't have made any sense to turn either one of them babyface.
But you're assuming that Lawler goes in there as a heel.
Yeah, but Lawler as a babyface nationally didn't get over first. Think about this. Every time he went somewhere outside Memphis, Dallas, he was a heel. AWA, he was a heel. Anywhere. He was a Polynesian Pro that time. He was a heel.
He wasn't a heel in the AWA when he went there, was he?
He was working with Kerry Von Erich.
I mean, that's later on. He worked with John Tolos. The show with Hogan versus Bockwinkel. Lawler versus Tolos is on there. Well,
back up now.
Lawler and Dundee were the tag team champions as babyfaces.
Okay, hold on. No, that was in 87.
Yeah.
That was in 87, and I'll get to that in a second. When Lawler in 82, that's when Jarrett he already had a deal with Vern. He'd been using AWA guys for years. But he sent Lawler up to work some shots because he was trying to get Lawler's name out there, and he knew he could get Lawler in some big markets and get the magazine, whatever the fuck. And he also, remember in 81, 82, when he and Funk, Lawler and Funk were working the angle. And obviously Jerry Jarrett and Eddie Graham had been close. He got Lawler down in Florida. He went as a babyface so he could work with Funk. But that's when he was trying to just have Lawler make appearances in some of these different territories, because that's when he was trying to build up to getting him a run with the NWA title. Lawler didn't go in and do programs as much as make appearances in those particular stints. When he went to Dallas and they did the World Class merger and he was appearing in Dallas, he was a Tennessee heel because Jarrett was trying to build the business. When Lawler went somewhere and was trying to be a regular talent and build a business and be a top guy at the WWF or wherever, he always went in as a heel, because that was, Lawler got over better as a heel and then switched babyface when he was such a goddamn entertaining heel. Does that mean if he did it?
Yeah.
If he went in as a babyface, you almost were like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because his promo was always still great, but the way that he worked, especially as a babyface, especially selling most of the match and getting the shit kicked out of him to set up the comeback, that worked best in Memphis because it was the people's psychological reaction to the drop of the strap and the comeback and the punches was all because they remembered what he was as a heel, and psychologically, the old king has been awoken. That's what got him the pop. As a babyface going in cold to people who didn't know him, I can see where people would not necessarily understand what the fuss was about.
Because when they were going to try to do the Lawler-Piper program, which they started, it just never went anywhere, Lawler was going to be a heel on Georgia TV and a babyface on Memphis TV.
Right.
Which would have been interesting, because then you would have babyface Piper in one place and heel Piper in another. What about when Lawler was going to be brought into WCW before this? They were going to have him against Luger. Remember, and Eddie Gilbert and Paul Heyman went and leaked it, and it caused a bunch of problems?
Right. That was something also that Jerry Jarrett was in on negotiating, and it was going to be a surprise. I remember that now that you mentioned it, of them, being blamed for spilling the beans or whatever. But that was, I'm pretty sure that was a situation where they were trying to just get Lawler in and get him on the big TV and make some appearances. And if it was agreeable to WCW as a babyface, he'll do it. But I'm just saying, Lawler, as the way to get the most mileage, the most money, and the most attention, etc., out of using Jerry Lawler, was bring him in as a heel, let him do the promos and do all the shit he did to get heat, and have the fucking matches. And then if he's going to stay, which he never really did anywhere but Memphis, but if he's going to stay, then you switch him babyface later on, and the people get it. And that's the same thing in Memphis. He had to get over as a heel first, and because it was so good, then he could run as a babyface, and the people were with it. And every couple of years, well, not even every couple of years, every several years, he'd have a reason to switch back again and run as a heel just long enough so the people remembered, and then he'd find a reason to switch babyface. They were back with it.
Hey, let me ask you this, and I understand why it wouldn't have happened, because Lawler thought he was a partner at that time, even though it turned out he wasn't. But let's say in 79, to make this reasonable and logical, he doesn't leave Memphis, but he goes up and he works TV tapings for the WWF, and he misses a few Monday nights to wrestle against Backlund in the Garden. He's one of these guys they bring in for Backlund, and he doesn't stay to do all the jobs on the way out. Do you think it would have worked? Like a 3-match program, Lawler and Backlund in New York?
I think in 1979, a 3-match program between Lawler and a fucking lamp would have worked in New York. If you brought him in and let him cut promo after promo on, because the people, remember, Backlund was not the most popular champion. That people didn't love him like Bruno, but just let Lawler fucking tell everybody up there what he fucking thought of him, and just give him some matches to get over in 5-6 minutes where he did his shit. I think he could have drawn 3 houses in the Garden against anybody.
Imagine Lawler and Bruno
with the blow off. Oh my God! If the fucking New York State National Guard brought Lawler into the fucking Garden, surrounded him and fed him to Bruno, and Bruno killed him, and then on the way out they surrounded him again. Oh yeah. I'm surprised. Lawler went to Puerto Rico a couple times. I'm surprised he didn't get killed. Because
I saw the promos. I'm surprised he didn't get killed also.
I mean, he had a kind of a false sense of security because he knew the Tennessee territory. He knew the towns. He knew the way the people were. I've seen a bunch of people jump in the ring on his matches when he was a heel, but he kind of knew, the spots to stay out of and the things to stay away from. When he went, if he'd have gone to Mid-South, the only time he ever worked for Bill Watts was the couple of times when he and Jarrett went down prefacing the talent trade, and he was a babyface on TV just to make a couple of appearances. If he'd have been a heel down there with those promos, somebody would have laid in wait for him outside fucking city limits, and you would have never seen him again. So sometimes when he went out of the Memphis territory, I'm surprised in Dallas, even when there was nobody there in the Sportatorium, I'm surprised somebody didn't stab him. One time, we'll get off of this. We've gone on it long enough, but one time on one of the world-class shows, which in the, what was it, 88-ish, 89-ish, when there were still some people in the Sportatorium and they still had a viable company, but Jarrett had taken over running it, and Lawler was one of the top heels, and he's working the thing with Kerry. He's coming down the aisleway in the Sportatorium. His music is playing, and he's got that disdainful look on his face, and he's looking back and forth at the people down his nose at him. He's carrying his crown, and he's kind of doing the strut. And all of a sudden, and this was not a plant. This was not a plant, but it was perfect. It was perfect because it wasn't a plant. There's legitimately like a 9-year-old kid with an old-fashioned autograph book and a pen at the rope. They had the high security clothesline that they surrounded the Sportatorium ring with, right? About 3 feet off the ground. The kid's barely taller than the fucking rope. And he's holding the book up, and Lawler looks down at him and sees it, and then has that Jackie Gleason look on his face, the magnanimous, like, oh, he wants an autograph. And he takes the book in his left hand, and he takes the pen in the right hand, and the kid's fucking face is beaming. And Lawler knows where the floor camera is, right? He sees it, and he turns right so the floor camera sees him looking head on, and he looks down at the book, and he takes the pen, and he puts it to the paper, and then he throws both of them right over the top of his head, right behind him, at the kid's feet, and struts on into the ring. And the kid looks like he's just had his fucking balls cut off. Just that kind of fucking everything. His body language, the way he walked, the way he worked, his facials, his attitude was right for who he was supposed to be in that given moment, and everything fit the situation. And every time that the babyface did something, anything, it got the appropriate facial reaction from Lawler. Oh, or ah, or meh, or whatever it was. And he told, there's a story he told in his match was simple to follow and easy all the time, and it fucking got over. And, so it just, he never had to go anywhere. He had a fucking bird's nest on the ground, as an old friend of mine used to say. He's living in Memphis and making a fucking fortune.
Hey, Jim, real quick before we move on, and we do have to get to these reviews at some point. Speaking of old friends of yours, did you see the tweet from Chris Jericho yesterday that caused Lance Storm to reply?
I did. A discussion between the thrill seekers? I did not.
Well, I guess you can call it that. Chris Jericho, who we've recently learned about his political donations, and we've all kind of known about his political leanings for a while. He's going to rock America. Chris Jericho tweeted out, "I'm not a political person, but is it strange to anybody else that for the first time ever, we have to wait a day, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days to find out who won the presidential race?"
Well, it wasn't even, it was 20 years ago. We waited, month and a half? There's been delays because the Democrats have won the popular vote. 7 out of the last 8 elections, or was it 8 out of the last 8 elections? But it just depends on the electorals, but that's not the first time ever. Am I missing something?
Well, he said he's not a political person. Obviously,
we know that's
he's not into history either. What do you want? Lance Storm replied,
Wait a minute. Lance is smartening Jericho up on our American politics. Lance is all Canadian. Jericho's half American.
Well, the Canadian replied, "The 2000 election took a month to finally be decided. Not exactly the first time ever. I cut promos about this at WCW."
That's right, he did, didn't he?
So now Lance Storm is schooling Jericho on politics.
2020, folks. Yeah, and once again, anybody who has a functioning brain understands that it's going to take a lot of time to count more votes than have ever been cast before, especially when it's so close, and especially when by 10 times at least is the all-time record mail-in vote because of the situation. So
I'm not a political person. I'm also not a thinker.
I'm also on the wrong side of history. Brian, if you had started out 2020 and somebody had said to you, "Will you bet on Lance Storm schooling Chris Jericho on American politics in this calendar year," what would you have said?
I don't think I would have taken that bet. This came by surprise. The fact that he would so publicly rebuke Chris Jericho, I'm surprised.
I would have said, "I'm going to call my bookie and take you up on that."
Ah, smart.
That's what I would have done, because the folks at my bookie will take a bet on almost anything. Almost. Folks, whether it's NFL action or college ball, whether it's the UFC cards, the presidential prop bets, I have a feeling all bets are off, but all the major sports and more, our friends at my bookie will take the action. Whether it's the Steelers or the Ravens or the Rams or the Dolphins or all the other kinds of animals and industrial workers that I don't really understand who the fuck they are. Whether it's all these teams that I don't follow, but you do, the folks at my bookie have deposit matches, free bets, huge cash prize contests that you can take advantage of all season long. Plus, they've got a mobile-friendly website and top-of-the-line customer service to make their platform a one-stop shop for all your betting needs. Folks, please do bet in moderation. Once again, sign up at MyBookie today, and when you do, use the promo code JCE to claim a deposit match dollar for dollar all the way up to $1,000. You put in $100, they give you 100. You put in 200, etc. It's a bonus that gives you a little help, a head start on your winning season. Promo code JCE to claim your bonus when you make your deposit. Sign up today to begin your winning season exclusively at MyBookie. And then you can bet on Canadian schooling in American politics or something like that.
That could be his new gimmick, the historian Chris Jericho. And he gets everything wrong.
Don't give him any ideas.
That idea would be better than any of the goofy crap he's done. And if it keeps him off commentary, all the better.
Remember when we were enjoying his commentary?
Those first few episodes with him and Shivani in Atlanta during the pandemic, he was fantastic. I was thinking about that a lot last night, or this morning when I watched the show. I kept thinking, he was so good. What happened? Is it me? Or is it him?
No. Well, here's what's happened. He was going out there at first to be the top heel on a wrestling program. And he was doing a good job of it. Part of it was the clear field he had, and part of it was he was good at it. Now he's going out to be the most entertaining person on an entertainment program. And if you just watch anything he does looking at it like that, I think you'll see it in a whole new light. It's the mission statement has changed. Anyway, as a matter of, before we jump into the reviews and get ahead of ourselves, what are you doing this week on your programs? And then we'll take this in order.
Another fine week of programming on the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network. Get information about all shows on Twitter at Superpodcasts or on Facebook, facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. All shows available wherever you find your favorite podcast. A few highlights this week. The latest episode of Breaking Kayfabe with Baldrin and Barry at baldrinpod.com, or, like I said before, wherever you find your favorite podcast. The boys look at a couple recent deaths, one affecting wrestling, one affecting entertainment. Of course, we're talking about the wild-eyed Southern boy Tracy Smothers, as well as 007 himself, Sean Connery. Check that show out today, baldrinpod.com. You haven't made any comments about Sean Connery's passing, Jim.
Well, that's because I'm not allowed to. I don't have clearance. Us double knot spies, we have to keep our secrets. I was actually 004.5.
Is he your favorite James Bond?
There is really no. Okay, I'll buy Roger Moore. I have to. But Sean Connery was James Bond. And the modern stuff. Oh, who was the one James Bond they had that looked like he ought to be wrestling at All Friends Wrestling? He looked like Pip.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
I don't know. I want the real men. Like Sean Connery and even Roger Moore, because after all, live and let die.
Okay. This week on John Arezzi's Pro Wrestling Spotlight, Then and Now, where John and myself go back and review the classic episodes of Pro Wrestling Spotlight from 30 years ago at pwspod.com, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. We are at a very interesting point in the show's history. John has left WNYG for a much bigger station, WBABAM. It's the first show after his convention, and there's a lot of controversy. Paul Heyman, Paulie Dangerously, calls up maybe one of his greatest appearances ever. It's hysterical, it's funny, it's quick. That's worth checking it out for, but also there's a lot of controversy because at John's convention, Sting, the new NWA World Champion, was booked there. He was going to be there from 12 to 3, but around 2:20, he got up and decided to leave. Find out what went on between John and Jim Herd, between Pro Wrestling Spotlight and WCW. Jim, any thoughts or memories you have about Barry Norman?
Oh, God. He was, Barry Norman was the media guy, publicist. He was involved in the personal appearances and the magazine and stuff and et cetera. And he didn't get rave reviews in this whole altercation, did he?
No, because apparently he signed off and knew about all these things and didn't relay it. And then Jim Herd did an interview with The Torch where he said John and all the newsletter writers are parasites. So there's a lot going on. Check it out today, pwspod.com.
Speaking of that parasite, I understand he's still alive at the age of 96. Old Uncle Elijah, he's still alive. It was early in the morning when he got to bed to rest his weary gambling head when he heard the angry words his pappy said. Elijah, go and fetch some wood. He heard these words and up he stood, even though it hurt. He knew he should.
The new episode of Pro Wrestling Spotlight Then and Now should be up.
Not a Black Oak, Arkansas fan?
No,
outside, he heard the rattle of chains that he ran
Jesus
from
Christ.
someone he thought insane as he heard the devil calling out his name. Well, the devil grabbed his suspenders well, and he trembled as he felt the man from hell, and he let out with a hairy yell. He jumped in bed with his ma and pa, and he told him the devil was in Arkansas, and he told him he'd quit gambling or break the law. Old Uncle Elijah, he's still alive at 105.
pwspod.com. Available wherever you find your favorite podcast. New episode up this Sunday. And of course, the 605 Superpodcast, The Mothership.
You shall rue this day. Well, go on. Start ruing.
Go through the archive today at 605pod.com. Available wherever you find your favorite podcast. The latest episode in production should be done pretty soon. And also, coming up, we have the anniversary show, as well as, in the next few weeks, we'll put it all together. The Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame special, where various voters come on and talk about who they voted for, who they didn't vote for, and what their thoughts are about the results of this year's Hall of Fame. But go through the archive today.
I used to be one of those voters.
He mails you a ballot, correct? And you just didn't vote this year?
Fuck him.
Well,
I ain't voting in his fucking Hall of Fame. He go piss up a rope.
So I guess you won't be on the special this year, but go through the archive and hear Jim on last year's special at 605pod.com. Available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. The Mothership.
All right. The point of the show where we've all been waiting for, where we're going to talk about this week. Can we call it a Wednesday night war anymore? I think one side has declared at least a truce. You know what I'm going to say here?
Well, for me, it's a Thursday morning struggle. I don't know about a Wednesday night war.
It's guerrilla warfare in the trenches. But NXT, from my learned opinion, from what they're doing, I don't think they're treating this as a ratings war anymore. I think that they're just doing their own show. And I worked there. I've heard these meetings, at least when Vince was younger and fit and trim. Maybe Triple H is saying the same thing. But I'm telling you, they're saying do your own show and don't worry about the competition at this point. Because I think, and remember, I've been in some of these meetings. They've seen, if Vince hadn't watched it, a lot of other people have watched AEW. And I think they've seen what they're doing and determined that there is a limited audience for that kind of stuff, and that the booker is an amateur, and they're watching now AEW as a company for how his Tony Khan's wallet might further upset the salary structure and how what their merchandising deals or television deals might be, but they are not counter-programming to try to fight a ratings war, because I think they've realized that as far as the product goes, this is the same thing in a different way than Vince knew, even though with WCW, the Attitude Era, et cetera, everybody knew down deep that the way that WCW was being run as a company, haphazard, blah, 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 all the things we've talked about and the books have been written, they weren't going to outlast them. The WWE just needed to outlast WCW, having everything thrown against them. Well, here, AEW is not doing WWE any damage. Not doing them any active damage. They're not signing away top talent that they want to keep. They're not fucking running opposite them with the big house shows that are sapping the road product, because there is none, but they wouldn't be doing it even if they did. It wasn't like an every night thing where in the Attitude Era, WCW might go to the same regional area as WWE and take tens of thousands of tickets out of circulation, etc. WWE is watching AEW now for salary structure and TV deal reasons, but not as a ratings threat, because I think they've got who they're going to get, and with what they're doing, they ain't going to get any more people. And that's why they started this show with a 20-minute girls match. Ember Moon versus Dakota Kai. What'd you think, Brian?
I was conflicted because I really like Dakota Kai and I'm not really that into Ember Moon, so there was a bit of fast forwarding involved. But I started watching by the end of the match and I thought it was all right. That's the best I could say. I'm surprised.
Well, it's all right. It's all right. Have a good show, 'cause it's all right. But it's all right ain't good enough.
Well, the role of Curtis Mayfield will be played by Jim Cornette, and the impression I got of this match...
Very good.
...was I was very surprised that Dakota Kai went over. I thought because they just brought Ember Moon back, they've given her promo time recently, I was like, oh no, they're going to squash Dakota Kai. They didn't. And I was very happy about that.
Well, I'm glad that they spent the first 20 minutes of their national television program to make you happy.
It was a bit long.
I wasn't real tickled myself. But then, after that match, Cameron Grimes did an interview. We have... Hear what I'm doing? Ow.
Are you slapping yourself?
I'm slapping myself on the wrist.
Not your thigh.
Bad Jim. Bad Jim. No, that would sound much louder. Bad Jim. A wrist slapping I just gave myself because I've said good shit about Cameron Grimes because what a personality he is. And he can work and he looks different and he's an old-fashioned wrestling heel. But now they've got him scared of zombies. And as he's doing the interview, he's acting scared and nervous and he's jumpy. And then a referee in a referee's outfit that works for NXT came up behind him and put his hand on his back, and Cameron Grimes turned around and sees him and jumps in a very phony way and not credible or realistic whatsoever, ran off screaming scared. Now they're killing this guy for me. Did you see that?
I did. Obviously, we didn't watch Halloween Havoc. I have it on my DVR. It is still there. I haven't deleted it yet. I also haven't watched it.
I put in the zombie rule, and apparently one of the zombies was in his match because now he's scared of zombies. This is the story that the announcers are telling us about a grown adult man. He's scared of zombies. Not scared. I can understand scared of snakes. I can understand scared of being in a coffin. Matter of fact, when we tried to do the Leviathan video, Batista didn't want to get in the coffin and lay down because he was actually physical. A guy that looked like that was scared of a coffin. I can understand that. But scared of zombies, I'm having trouble with.
You know, it's funny. John Fell just posted something the other day of how to protect yourself from zombies. I don't think he created it. He just took someone else's thing and reposted it.
He's that way. He's a noted plagiarist.
And it was a house surrounded by treadmills. So as they walk up, it would just shoot them backwards.
Well, Cameron Grimes, now you know all you have to do is surround your house with treadmills. And the next match on the program was Cameron Grimes against Kushida. And the first line I wrote is, fuck, I have to watch Kushida because I like to watch Cameron Grimes. Every time I see Kushida, well, if you can't see Bass in the morning, you can't see Bass at all. Every time I see Kushida, I think it's one of the ring crew guys working out before the matches. Because he's a good athlete and he's a good worker, but he's so small and he's wearing blue jeans and fucking tennis shoes. And it just looks odd in this. Now they've got the Thunderdome virtual fans in the Capitol Wrestling Center and all the lights and all this high budget production. And here's a guy who looks like he just finished changing his tire on the side of the road. I like Grimes as a worker, both athletically and mentally. He gets professional wrestling. You can tell, and you can tell he's a fan. And they were working hard and serious in this match. Even if I think Kushida has drawbacks, they were working very hard, very seriously. Their shit looked good. And the announcers were fucking going on about Cameron Grimes being scared of zombies. Anyway, here was the finish. As I said, they worked serious and had a nice match, made some contact, and then Kushida gives Cameron Grimes a flying double wrist lock off the top rope, just like Luthez used to do. That was Thez's go-to hold if somebody tried a double cross, just not off the top rope, double wrist lock. But he didn't go for a cover. Then he went to do some more shit, and they bumped the referee to the floor. Then Kushida gets his fucking wrist lock, and Cameron Grimes taps out, but there's no referee. Okay, I'm with them so far. Then they fucking do something. Grimes hits that cross body where he fucking goes all the way over it's a fucking flip. I don't know how he does it. It looks nice. He gets a cover. Second referee comes out. Cameron Grimes, the same referee, Cameron Grimes thinks he's a zombie, jumps up, shocked face, running, backing up from the referee in the ring, and gets caught in Kushida's wrist lock and taps out. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? They couldn't do anything else after they'd got that far, but he thought the referee had no zombie makeup. The referee didn't have any blood dripping from his face, no brains coming out of his fucking mouth. He didn't have his clothes weren't torn. He didn't just recently dig himself out of a grave. It was a referee dressed in a referee's outfit. But because of Halloween Havoc, Cameron Grimes thought he was a zombie. Is this what I saw?
I think so.
Do you have anything to say about it?
I got nothing else to add. I really like Cameron Grimes. It's weird that this match, more than anything else we've seen recently, made me think of you talking about how small Kushida is, because I'm usually the one to defend him. But in this match, for whatever reason, against Cameron Grimes, it really stood out how small he is. And I have nothing else to add.
Hey, man, let's all get small.
I hate the fact that it takes someone like Cameron Grimes, who I think has a world of potential because he obviously has natural charisma.
Aptitude.
Yeah, well, he's good in the ring, but he has charisma. He could probably cut a even better promo if it wasn't crap given to him. And now they have him being childish. They have him afraid of zombies because of Dexter Lumis. Everything Lumis touches turns to a zombie.
So we were 45 minutes in this 2-hour show. We'd had 2 matches, a 20-minute girls match and a good men's match that ended when the heel ran from a referee that he thought was a zombie. Now we have the reluctant tag team of Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. And they, again, for what seems to be more times than Bobo Brazil faced the Sheik, were booked with Everrise. Everrise doesn't quit rising either, do they? They're on a show every week. I know you have a reluctant tag team partner rule.
No, it's specific to these two.
Specific to these two, because it's been so hokey and goofy. I will just briefly tell you that basically the match was Killian Dane did tag moves with Drake Maverick based on throwing Drake Maverick like a sack of shit into the opponents for the first 45 seconds, and then they took over and beat Maverick up. And then, I'll get you to the point where you stop fast forwarding. And then Pat McAfee and his crew show up. Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne looks like he's using Donald Trump's fucking tanning bed. And they show up in the car outside the parking lot. They come in the building and they jump in the ring and they get really sloppy heat on the baby faces, except for Pete Dunne. He threw some nice shots, but the other guys got heat on the baby faces like they'd never gotten heat on baby faces before. Maybe they don't teach that at the Performance Center. Southern wrestlers were masters at it. But McAfee's running the camera while the heels beat the shit out. And then they hit Killian Dane with some kind of botched triple team move that looked like the two guys that had him up. One was going for one thing, one was going for the other thing. And the guy that had his fucking feet just kind of went down with it. He landed on his rectum. Rectum almost killed him. And then they went to the break. And when they come back, Pat McAfee and the heels were in the ring. And this was almost an hour in was the highlight of the show so far. They promoted the Undisputed Era and fucking McAfee. This was a great wrestling promo. He was calling the fans stupid and ugly. He was knocking the fucking guys he was mad at. Since MJF lost his mind and left for musical comedy, McAfee may be the best fucking heel in the business. And he's only had one match. Then they were going to raise Undisputed Era's banner to the rafters, like retired their jersey and put them in the archives. And then the thing lowers and McAfee says, here's the banner in the rafter thing. He's fucking great. He's got personality and he knows what a heel wrestler sounds like. And then they voted on whether they should raise the banner or not. And they decided instead to throw it in the trash can. And shades of Dirty White Boy burning the Confederate flag in Smoky Mountain, they throw it in the trash can, squirt it with the lighter fluid, and set the fucking banner on fire. And then McAfee insulted the fans some more. They left, walked out the side door. Killian Dane attacks McAfee, and then the heels kick the shit out of him again, slam his fucking head in the door. And Pete Dunne kicked the fucking door into fucking Killian Dane's face, and McAfee's like, hey, a little aggressive there, but we'll talk about it later. He's funny without being goofy funny, on purpose funny, and winking at the camera like I'm playing with all this funny. He's funny like a fucking heel. If he's going to be on this show, I have a lot more enthusiasm to watch it, because it needs something, and he's a lot of the something. What'd you think?
I think he's great. I mean, I thought it before. I was upset when I thought he may be going away after the Adam Cole match. He's fantastic as a heel. He's great on the mic. The only thing I didn't like is, and it was a minor thing, I don't like him using inside terms while doing his promo. I think he said, you'll be over, and there was another thing he said. I was just like, oh, why? You don't need to say that. Maybe he doesn't know better.
I'm the same. Well, I'm the same way. You slip though, and when he's speaking extemporaneously, but I'm the same way. I don't like him to use the word kayfabe. I don't like, over. I think everybody kind of gets what over is now, right? As just a reference that people, in the context that they use it in, you would kind of get it without it being real inside wrestling.
You may be right. And
but I take your point that the guys do need to watch when they talk too inside, because then they're limiting their audience to like the internet audience. And also it just doesn't, it makes them sound markish, but anyway.
And then we'll see how this heel faction goes. It's an interesting group. You said they don't know how to get heat. I think they said that collectively they've been in the business for 30 years.
Well, but no, see, here's the thing. These guys, especially the guys that are from England, they're used to the modern style, and they haven't been doing television for 10 years each, and they haven't been doing angles for 10 years each. They've been booked in independent shows where they are booked to go and have great matches. They have been in developmental where they get a lot of training in how to have great matches and do moves and be safe or whatever. But you don't fucking get experience on how to do angles and get in and kick the shit out of people and get heat with a sense of urgency and sound and motion and know how to get in and look confident doing it, instead of just throwing the kind of haphazard little slappy punches things and flailing feet around. But that's experience, and also a very specialized kind of training. We used to do it in OVW because heels need to know how to go in and get fucking heat. I'm not talking about get the people mad. This is the act of getting heat on the babyface, kicking the shit out of them in an urgent and violent and fucking believable way with emotion and passion. That's what I'm talking about, getting heat on the babyface. And they just went in there and it was just sloppy. Because I guarantee you, of all the things they've done in wrestling, this is probably the thing they've done the least. So, anyway.
And then Pete Dunne, I like the fact that he was being serious. I've had a difficult time getting into Pete Dunne. I'm going to say this, and let's see if this gets stuck in your head like it is mine. But
okay.
Every time I see him, to me, he looks like Becky Lynch with pubic hair glued to her face.
Oh, my God.
And that's all I see whenever I see him.
Well, fuck, now you've killed him for me.
But we'll see where they go. Pat McAfee, though, back up the Brinks truck. He's fantastic.
I have a feeling they already have there. We had a video of Mr. Sameface in his house talking to the guy in the horror mask from Scream. So I fast forwarded.
Did you see the video package that he beat Damian Priest for the North American title?
Oh, I did see that because Priest got knocked off the fucking stage through a house or something. Yeah, thanks for coming, Damian. You just got beat by a midget. Great booking on the part of NXT there. But anyway, Toni Storm. We love her. She looks fabulous. Big fan. Now that she's back, praised the match she had last week. Matched up with Shotzi Blackheart. There's a Shotzi rule. God damn it. I started to be conflicted. What do I do? Do I watch it for Toni or fast forward for Shotzi? But then I saw that Shotzi didn't come out in her tank. She ran to the ring because she was pissed off and she wanted to get in there with Toni Storm. So I said, I'll watch this because there's no tank. That's a big part of the whole reason why I don't want to see Shotzi. And I knew you'd be proud of me. 20 seconds into the fucking match, Shotzi Blackheart climbs up the ropes to jump off on Toni Storm, slips off, flips into the ring, and lands on her ass. I then invoked the Shotzi rule. That's enough. Fast forwarded through a break. Come back from the break on the other side after what seemed like forever on Fast Forward. All of a sudden, on the screen, Mrs. Sameface shows up, and the match comes to a halt. Toni Storm's out on the floor. Shotzi's standing in the ring. Everything comes to a halt while Shotzi watches Candace Sameface talk to her on the screen. Mrs. Sameface is standing next to Shotzi's tank by the side of the road. And while she's shocked and Mrs. Sameface is saying, I'm going to take care of it. It was just here. I'm going to make sure nothing happens to it. Toni Storm rolls Shotzi up and pins her. But then Toni Storm stays in the ring and watches while Mrs. Sameface gets back on the screen. And then a monster truck pulls up. And Mrs. Sameface gets in the monster truck and runs over the toy tank that Shotzi does her entrances in. But they weren't smart enough to actually take the monster truck and run one of the tires over the tank. Thus, instead, they just ran the monster truck toward the tank and it got stuck under the front and they just drove down the street with it until finally it broke up on it. Wouldn't it have been more picturesque, Brian, if you saw that big tire just smash the shit out of that little tank?
I would think.
We should have got Medusa in to drive the monster truck for him. But anyway, so Toni, who just took advantage of this girl being distracted by a heel with her property to roll her up and pin her, stayed in the ring and watched this, and now feels bad for Shotzi and goes over to comfort her. So my Shotzi rule is now back in effect no matter what the opponent, because it was a Trojan horse. I was fed this with a spoonful of sugar, and it didn't make it go down any easier. What'd you think?
I executed the Shotzi rule at the very beginning, and then I stopped fast forwarding when I realized something was happening. I figured there may be an angle. I may have to talk about this. And then Shotzi's breakdown because of her Tonka tank being run over. And then Toni Storm consoling her because this grown woman's tank.
Oh, it was a mental breakdown. She was screaming at the top of her lungs, tearing her hair out of her head, and almost dislocated her jaw with her mouth open, going, ah!
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. My Shotzi rule stays in effect.
The Tonka tank. A brief video followed where, do they just keep the camera in the parking lot to see all these guys driving up? And why is it that they all drive up in the middle of the program? And also at this point, it was past 9 o'clock in the Eastern time zone and they're in Florida, but yet it was fucking broad daylight. But Pablo Escobar and it's not Pablo, it's Santo. Pablo was his uncle. He had a different business. Santo Escobar and the Lucha Suits are in the parking lot walking into the building, and they're on camera, and they start to say something, and suddenly Jake Atlas drives up, comes out with a baseball bat. hits Escobar, jumps back in the fucking truck and drove off. It looked like me on Magnolia Avenue after Terry Landell in Knoxville. And that was it. So, once again, thankfully, just the 45 seconds that these guys were on camera all night was the exact moment that Jake Atlas was going to commit assault and battery and aggravated mayhem on camera on national television. Lucky how that turned out. The Thatch is Thatch Can segment. I love these, but can you read my mind and tell me what I'm going to say was the matter with it?
I don't know. It could be during the segment or the run-in at the end of the segment.
Well, why the fuck? The Thatch is Thatch Can is great because Timothy Thatcher is that fucking dog-faced fucker with gap tooth that has that fucking head and that face, and he likes to punish people, and he is an accomplished mat wrestler and grappler and knows the hooks and the shoot holes and all this stuff, and that's great as a showcase to get this guy over to do this shit to top talent. But every time they do one, he proves that he's an asshole and he knows all this shit, and then the fucking student turns around and either kicks the shit out of him or gets something over on him. Or the reason why we criticized it last time was because the guy came back at the unknown one-named fucking student, not even job guy, comes back and fucking gets him and shit, and he starts backing up Thatcher. Well, this time, they didn't get a guy that was any better of an actor because he overacts the build-up where Thatcher won't break quickly enough and is roughing him up. And you can see through that because they can't fucking find somebody that can act. But also, when he fucking mistreated this one guy, the last guy, Austin Gray, some fucking unknown fuck, previous student and tackling dummy, hit the ring and kicked the shit out of fucking Thatcher and blew off all the heat that he got in the segment. Why does this always backfire on television for Thatcher? If they did it enough where it didn't backfire before we started watching, although we've been watching for months, and now they do it because they did it too long without it backfiring, then just stop doing it. It should never backfire unless the guy that comes out and takes the place of the tackling dummy, the training partner, is a main event fucking talent. And then that's your angle. But you can't do that angle now because all the fucking training partners have fucking come back on Thatcher already. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I like the segments. And then the guy from last week we both thought looked like crap, all of a sudden now he's going to be feuding with Thatcher. I don't know about this.
Well, I don't know if he's going to be feuding with Thatcher or if they just ran him out there just to fucking blow all the heat off. Anyway, the main event of the evening. And I'm going to surprise you when I say some things here. Tommaso Ciampa versus the Velveteen Dream. I first will ask if we have got, besides just the fact that he's just switched heel, is there a reason why Velveteen Dream now dresses like a cat burglar?
I don't know what the hell's going on with this guy.
Black shoes, black pants, black shirt, black glove. I don't know if he had gloves except for the cast. He's got a purple cast and then a black do-rag on. He looks like he's fucking sneaking out of a prison camp in the middle of the night. But Tommaso Ciampa kicked the shit out of the Velveteen Dream, and I love watching Tommaso work. It's exciting. It's different. His shit looks good. It makes sense. It's different. He means business. The Velveteen Dreams, I get a kick out of his initials being VD. I don't know why. The awkward overselling that he's doing remains distracting. He's not overselling like a heel, like a Austin Theory would be. He's overselling like a, I really want to impress somebody. I need to keep a job, and it's going too far. But Ciampa stayed all over him for the most part. The pace was fast. We had some action. At least it looked like two grown men. Ciampa made Dreams cast the focal point. The comeback fire that Champa had was fucking awesome when he just kept clotheslining him until he couldn't get up anymore. The top rope superplex, nice close false finish. They did that vertical suplex over the top spot, and actually it was a nice spot, and they did it fairly safely. And it was a nice touch. I haven't seen that one in a while. Tiger Mask and Dynamite Kid, I think, is the first two people I ever saw do that spot. And then they did a nice little finishing sequence that was done very well, and everybody was in the right place, and Champa hit his finish, 1, 2, 3, boom. This was the best match of the night on either program, which possibly indicts both programs, but it was. What'd you think?
It was all right. I must admit, I didn't pay very, very close attention because I really don't like Velveteen Dream very much.
I knew you wouldn't, and that's why I knew what I said would surprise you.
I don't know where they're going with Champa now. I hope they don't do him and Gargano again. But I don't know where they're going with him. Hopefully they're getting away from the Velveteen Dream in him, because he's just kicked his ass over and over again. I don't know. I other than the Pat McAfee segment, I hated this show.
Well, it wasn't good.
There was nothing that stopped me from fast forwarding.
But as a wrestling match, out of both shows, that was the best one, which tells you something. And meanwhile, let's go over to Comedy Central, across the street on the other channel, and see what they had to give us. Opening of the show, promo, Jericho, Hager, and Santana. Hager was all beat up from his Bellator match, and that's great. That's the kind of shit the guys used to do on purpose to each other to make you believe the business. Here's the problem. He has match after match against their top guys in AEW. He never has a mark on him. He goes and fights in Bellator. He comes back. He looks like he's been hit with a fucking brick. It would have been wonderful on, I don't know. Anyway, nevertheless, MJF and Wardlow come in, and MJF is trying to prove to Jericho that he does belong in the inner circle. Jericho tells MJF he doesn't have the killer instinct, that in fact he's soft. Like that's the equivalent to you motherfucker these days. You're soft. Ooh. I don't know. I don't know why MJF that they had something with. Why now does he want to join this group and be one of the boys, the ultimate egotist that you would think that MJF would be? He's got this stooge that they've established on their television is under contract to him, not AEW. Then what's going to happen if MJF joins the inner circle? Where is Wardlow figured in? Does he have to be a stooge now for a guy in a group of stooges for another guy? What's in it for him? Why are the heels wanting to join each other but fighting each other in order to fucking see if they get to join each other? I know the answer to all those questions. There's an amateur Mark as the booker. So Jericho joins the announce desk, and MJF and Wardlow have a tag team match with Santana and Ortiz. Wardlow...
No. Ortiz and Sammy Guevara.
I'm sorry, Sammy and Ortiz, not Santana. I'm too used to saying the tag team, but Sammy Guevara and Tito Ortiz. So yes, MJF and Wardlow are fighting two members of the group that he wants to join. But also, here's the thing. There's Wardlow. They were supposed to be wanting to get him over as a big beast so that this thing, the dichotomy between him and MJF would work. But now he's out there bumping sometimes for these the other heels that are half the size that he is. Anyway, they mostly worked Ortiz over, and MJF and Wardlow healed. So Ortiz had to babyface. One of the members of the top heel group is now selling. And then Sammy Guevara, the asshole heel that's nearly killed Matt Hardy and is engaged in this long-running blood feud with Matt Hardy and is trying to kill him on pay-per-view Saturday night. That asshole heel gets the hot tag and makes the big comeback and gets the best babyface reaction of the night from the crowd as he's making a great babyface comeback. Oh, then Guevara and Ortiz try to double superplex MJF, but Wardlow shoved Sammy off the top rope out onto either the stage or the floor. I think he landed on the steps. I don't know. He's out for a while. But he's back in. Well, he's not out for a while. He's out for a second. And then he's back in just moments later on doing Matrix shit. And they both beat Wardlow up like Wardlow was one of the Mulkey brothers. And then they go for another double superplex spot the same way, since the first one didn't work out so good. So they try it again, but this time Wardlow gets underneath them and power bombs both of them, but he takes MJF over in the superplex at the same time. So he killed his own partner. Then Sammy Guevara hits an amazing spinning dive over the top rope onto, I believe it was Wardlow, whoever the fuck it was. But as he lands on the floor, some masked guy who was wearing Serpentico's mask, the little minute fake luchador that they've signed to a contract because they have so much money and there's no other deserving wrestlers out there starving to death. He throws a fucking chair and hits Sammy Guevara in the head with it, knocks him goofy, and then takes his mask off and reveals it's Matt Hardy. So the heel, Sammy Guevara, switches babyface in the match and is the star of the match. The people are cheering him like crazy, but he gets fucked by being hit with a chair by the top babyface that he's fighting on Saturday night. And when that happens, MJF in the ring, the other heel, taps Ortiz out to win the match. So Matt Hardy switched heel and fucked the babyface out of... Oh, fuck it. Then MJF tries to leave the ring, but decides to run and dive on fucking Jericho at the desk and beat the shit out of him to prove how much he wants to be in Jericho's group. Is that what happened? I told you I was going to ask you a lot of questions.
Yeah, this makes no sense. This makes no sense. It's stupid. Sammy is working as a total babyface this whole match. Jericho, let's talk about Jericho. Unbearable on commentary. He was so good early on during the pandemic. Now he's just screaming at you the whole time.
Remember what I said earlier? Apply that. I said earlier in the program, in case you're listening on YouTube, you didn't get the whole clip. Chris Jericho started out in AEW trying to be the top heel of a wrestling promotion. And now he has decided either to settle for or to, because there's no other choice, or to whatever, he's trying to be the most entertaining guy on an entertainment program. And therefore, it's not as good as it was.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I hate Wardlow taking so many bumps for two tinier guys. This whole MJF Jericho feud, Chris Jericho's 2020, I'm telling you right now, we will be doing an omnibus of Chris Jericho's 2020. Because it is a Hall of Fame level of shit, the likes of which very few people in wrestling history have ever gotten to.
This has been a literal, not a drop, but a plummet from the penthouse to the outhouse.
He's become maybe my least favorite person in all of wrestling. He's become unbearable. And this feud has dragged MJF down, and some people are going to say, oh, but MJF had the idea to do the dancing thing. MJF's a young kid. Really talented. He's going to have plenty of his own stupid ideas. He doesn't...
Don't rush him.
But if he has a dance partner for those stupid ideas, that's the problem. No, I hate this. I don't care about where they're going. I don't want to see the match. Just awful in every way.
Well, speaking of awful in every way, next up was a special taped segment interview, Tony Schiavone with Twinkle Toes McFingerbang. They're sitting on a couch with a dog. Tony says, thank you for allowing me to come into your home. Love your dog. And Twinkle Toes says, actually, Tony, this isn't my house, and that's not even my dog. So we're expected to believe that this is the first time that Tony Schiavone is finding this out. When the camera just instantly appeared there. They've only walked in seconds before. And then Twinkle Toes did some kind of mushed mouth interview, skipping around all over the fucking point of whatever, nothing anybody would pay attention to, talking about him being destined to be the AEW champion. I guess he's been destined to be the AEW champion. That's true because the market that started this company fell for his publicity, but did he make any particular point? Did he sell this match in any way? Did he make you want to see anything unfold here, or was it just some blather and conversation with no direction with Tony Schiavone?
I'm going to try to be a little more positive than you. He's trying hard. It's just he's not capable of doing a good interview for an American wrestling audience. Schiavone, at some point, Omega's talking and Schiavone's just like a frump on the couch, just making a face. He looks like he doesn't want to be there. The fashion sense of Omega, I'm not really one into fashion. I mean, I look nice, but I'm not really into fashion. But Omega's dressed like a bum, and it's the same outfit he wears later on when he's not in his pretend home. He's wearing later on when he comes out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to think. I will say this, and this is faint praise, but I thought this was better and more effective than Adam Page's interview later in the show.
We'll get to that, but let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Oh, wrestling savant, knower of everything trivial in wrestling history. Who was in the picture on the table next to Kenny Olivier?
I was looking at that and trying to figure it out. I'm like, is that Mephisto? Who's the guy next to him? I'm not sure, but then someone told me, and I don't know, this hasn't been confirmed. Marty Goldstein, if you're listening, get in touch. Reportedly, I was told that it was Don Callis with Kenny Omega's uncle as his manager.
Okay.
Because Kenny Omega's uncle has been involved in the scene in Winnipeg. So I was told that that picture was Don Callis when he was managed by Kenny Omega's uncle. I don't know if that's true or not.
It looked like an old 50s wrestling picture, like it would be Lord James Blears or something. I don't fucking know. But anyway, obviously it figures in because they couldn't even let us see it and not dwell on it. They had to frame both camera shots of the two camera shoots so that the picture was oddly figured into both shots, even though it made the people in the shot off center. So
it looked like Tarzan Kowalski with the Great Mephisto. That's what I was like.
There you go. Yeah, one of those type of things. But anyway, but every shot was on it, so that's something. We don't know what, and really he gave us no reason to care about anything. But speaking of not caring about anything, the next match was Trent of the noted team of Trent and Chucky, the Chucklefucks, taking on Miro. I have to say it like that now, since we don't have Riho. Miro with Pip and Penelope Pitstop in the corner against Trent. Because as you'll remember, they are just madder than a bunch of wet hens that Trent and his little CF partner broke their video game. By the way, did you notice they're having in-ring introductions for it's with George Hamilton? In-ring introductions for a preliminary match. So after the introductions, Miro not just broken English, but shattered English, started cutting a promo on Trent and insulted Trent's mother. Because remember, Trent's mom's minivan has been figured into all this stuff too, and these guys are he's even more wrapped up in his mother than I was Mama Cornette. So he insults Trent's mother and they jump started. And Miro beats the teetotal shit out of Trent. For some reason, during the match, Chucklefuck Taylor jumps on Pip and they fight out of the arena and don't come back for a long time. So either they were in a constant pitched battle back there the whole time, or they blew up and they had to both sit down and have a fucking cold beverage. I don't know. I don't get it. Did you love the part where Trent got shot off by the big Bulgarian beast and took the perfect Ray Stevens upside down into the turnbuckle? and then immediately landed on his feet, dodged a move, and went on offense.
By the way, Jim Ross called it. He called it a Ray Stevens tribute there.
Well, that's what it is, of course. And then they immediately reminded him, it's probably a good thing if you don't get shot upside down, because that's inside wrestling. But I'm at this point, JR's bored. He's trying to fucking come up with some reason to sit there and stay awake. So, anyway. Apparently in the break, they went to break after that, and apparently Penelope Pitstop slapped old Pockets upside his head, and then the dork jobbers came out and beat Pockets up. That was during the break. They showed it when they come back. During the break, all this shit. Anyway, Trent made a shitty comeback. This match would never end. That was a quote from my notes. Miro hit a good-looking finish that he did for a 2 count. Boom. 1-2. Trent kicks out, and immediately Trent jumps up fresh as a daisy, dumps Miro out to the floor, and hits a fucking dive. And then is given Miro all he can handle, hits a close false finish. I think another one, I wrote, a mid-card babyface is kicking the shit out of their brand new WWE monster acquisition. And I can't figure that out. And then finally, Miro just stopped him and got the camel clutch for the win, which is probably of all wrestling finishes the most boring in this day and age. But then he wouldn't let go. He got it on again. And here came Chuck back finally. Where's he been? And here came Pip. And then the heels kicked the shit out of the chucklefucks on the floor. But suddenly, the camera backs up and there's Pockets. He's back, and he just falls off the top rope and knocks both Pip and Miro over. This whole thing to accomplish nothing. And they'd said Miro's singles match debut in AEW. And they do all that shit and end up Miro flat on his ass and retreating from a guy that fell off the top rope on him with his hands in his pockets. What did they accomplish on his singles debut besides to pigeonhole him as an underneath guy on the card, competitive with Trent and getting beat up by the guy with the hands in his pockets?
I mean, it accomplished nothing. That's not the point of it. But once again,
the point of everything on television to accomplish something?
No, this is professional wrestling.
I was told in 1982 at one of my first televisions by Jerry Jarrett that every minute of television is valuable, and every minute that you are on television should be trying to accomplish something in the area of selling tickets or enhancing talent.
That was in 1982. There's a lot of valueless minutes on professional wrestling in 2020.
Isn't that sort of like a fucking meaningless calories?
I guess so. Miro's a guy, I've said it before, a lot of potential. They could have done so much with him. They went the exact opposite route of any of the ideas I would have done with him. The one positive I could say is that with the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy and Miro and Kip and Penelope, the video game lovers, and then the Dark Order minus Brody Lee, the B team, the job crew of the Dark Order, at least they're keeping all these guys in one segment together. If you're going to have
the
them,
modern Paul Jones Army.
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah. If you're going to have all these guys on the show, just keep them all together.
Because they're driving us apart.
They're driving us together, I think.
So then the interview that you mentioned earlier, Adam Page, the hangman,
oh my
the drunk
God.
man.
Yeah.
Jim Ross sitting down interviewing Adam Page. JR elevated and enhanced Mick Foley's career immensely with that famous sit down between him and Mankind. They pretty much just went into it and created what they were going to do, because I was on the creative team at the time. We didn't write no verbiage. This was not that. JR had to sit there and try to ask this guy questions like it was a serious thing, while Adam Page is sitting there drinking whiskey out of a glass and admitting that he was drunk and that he was nervous about the match. And did he almost cry, saying he's nervous about the match with Omega, and JR's trying to say, moderation, son, like an intervention. This was a 2-minute intervention for a pathetic, insecure drunk. And that was almost crying. Now, I thought Olivier becoming the cleaner, going back to the old Omega, I thought he was then supposed to be the heel. Hasn't he been obnoxious? Hasn't he been condescending to people? Hasn't he been acting more heelish in his own really milksopish way? So now Paige, then by obviously all logic, would be the babyface, the guy we're supposed to cheer for, but he's an insecure drunk that cries on television and is basically drinking and says if he doesn't win, he's got nothing left but whiskey. What the fuck is any of this?
And by the way, they got Jake Roberts working there. Have Adam Page spend the day with Jake Roberts so he can learn how to do this.
Wait a minute. Now, hold on. So he can learn how to talk, or he can learn how to be a drunk?
How to be a drunk on camera. This is so ridiculous. It's so preposterous.
He should. They have Jake Roberts on staff. They should spend a day with Jake and Paige for Jake to teach Paige how to do promos to get himself over and tell the amateur fucking booker that owns this thing that he's not going to be drunk anymore, so he has a career after this fucking program is over with. Paige has been completely gutted, filleted, and left to dry in the sun. A future star, a guy with all the tools and all the talent. And in the past year, they have put him in a reluctant team with a fucking complete idiot as a partner. They have made him an insecure and unreliable drunk. And now if he don't win this match, if he puts that fucking Casper Milquetoast Harpo Marx looking motherfucker over, then all he'll have is his whiskey. And he's fucking done. Who's going to... The AEW fans are going to like him, just like they like anything, including a swift kick in the balls. But no other normal wrestling fans are ever going to fucking look at Paige like a fucking main event talent again, because he's been through this fucking wood chipper called AEW Amateur Booking. Did you have any closing thoughts?
I don't know what else to say about. I mean, guy is a world of talent. I'm not crazy about the wrestler is a drunk thing, but if you're gonna do it right. The Sandman, kick-ass drunk.
I was about to say, he's not even a fucking drunk like a goddamn wild-ass drunk in wrestling would be. He's a pitiful, crying, sobbing in the corner drunk.
I know, he's like a teenage girl just discovered the family's liquor cabinet. I mean, it's so unbelievable, and he always has his little cocktail with him everywhere he goes.
Well, he came out later on to make the fucking save, and he's still carrying his drink in his hand. You can't put the fucking thing down. That's what makes all this so phony. And people go, well, look, it's so fucking stupid. He can't even put his drink down to come out and save this guy.
He's a sad drunk. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid. You're not allowed to kick the commentators. You get fined. But you're allowed to go out on camera allegedly drunk.
Yeah. Somebody ought to ask Tony Khan, instead of the concussion protocol, what about the fucking alcohol abuse protocol? Aren't you supposed to, like a pilot, aren't you supposed to have 10 hours after you drink before you can fly a plane or whatever?
He's sitting there with Jim Ross. How many drinks do you think Jim Ross had that day?
Jim Ross had probably had more drinks than Paige had, and he sounded just fine.
Yeah, he's handling it fine. Paige is falling apart.
That's because, and this is their thing. Was Stone Cold Steve Austin, the beer drinking, hell raising. Austin was portrayed as a man who could handle his liquor.
That's right.
Fuck. So that guys wanted to be him, not fucking laugh at him and say, "I'd like to slap you and take your fucking girlfriend." The next segment: Taz and Starks and Cage. Great promo. Horrible subject matter. You're starting to see a pattern here. They come out and Taz is mad at Tony Khan for not figuring them in. They don't have a match tonight. They're not booked on the pay-per-view. Tony Khan is now going to be another Dixie Carter in another way. They're starting to talk more and more about him being the matchmaker, him being the fucking owner, him making these matches. Let me explain this real quick. Tony Khan's name means absolutely dick all of shit as far as being the one to make the matches. And I'm sorry that they can't relate this to him and be honest with him. But the only people that give a fuck that he's making the matches are the people who have the fantasy booking fantasies like he does, which is their existing audience, and nobody else would give a shit. And it's another reason why they're never going to get anybody else to care. That's why every time you had an authority figure or a commissioner or a promoter or someone in the territory days or even in the major companies to come out and make a match, it was somebody that the fans recognized as having a long history in wrestling. A retired wrestler is now commissioner or matchmaker. It's Sergeant Slaughter. It's fucking Bullet Bob Armstrong or the promoter himself. Even when Frank Tunney was the WWF president, that was because he'd been a promoter in Toronto and on television for years and years. And the fans, okay, they can buy that this guy would make a match in a major company between big-time professional wrestlers. But suddenly, Tony Khan is making the matches. Even if he is, don't tell people. Because that just is another thing that makes you look fucking low rent. But because he has to be acknowledged as the booker, because he's so proud of his booking. Because in his mind, this shit makes sense. So instead of having, I don't know, Arn Anderson, one of the great promos of all time and a pro wrestler that everybody respected, instead of having him holding a towel and hiding his face with a notebook to give Cody tips, let him be the commissioner and sign the matches. Try to keep those heels in check. That way he could actually do something. But anyway, so all Taz did was say, Tony Khan, we're mad at you because you ain't figured us in. Tony Khan. And we're going to be on the pay-per-view one way or the other. He had a great promo, did a real good job. He had absolutely nothing to fucking sell. Do you agree with that?
I agree with it. I was thinking during this match, I've made comments about Cody in the past, the things I don't like, and I've compared some of his worst qualities with some of Dusty's worst qualities in terms of ego. But the old TBS thing of everyone coming out and doing promos and having to talk about Dusty, that's becoming Tony Khan. Everyone on the show is talking about Tony Khan. I hope he doesn't become an on-air character, because I do not think he could pull it off. I don't think he should pull it off. Like you said, I was thinking the exact same thing you just said. Arn Anderson. Any of these legends they brought back, anyone would have been better in that role. You don't have to pretend he doesn't own the company, or his dad doesn't own the company and put him in charge of the company. You don't have to pretend he's not there and not the person.
He doesn't have to be fucking serving up the hot dogs at the concession stand either. It's not like he has to do everything, even if he is apparently doing everything.
You have a matchmaker, you have a commissioner, you have someone in that role. You can't tell me it wouldn't be a better way to use Arn Anderson than whatever the hell they've done with him since he's been with Cody. He means nothing in that role. It's done nothing. But this is a way he can cut his promos without getting physical, because that's something he also shouldn't be doing anymore. I completely agree. It was the same thought I had. And it just reminded me of when Russo went to WCW. And remember, we didn't see him on camera for a while. We heard his voice and everything was the powers that be. And then the wrestlers couldn't figure out what that was, so they would start calling him the powers to be, not realizing that's not what it was. But then eventually he's on camera. And eventually he's in the middle of everything. I'm not saying it's going to be that. But the fact that nonstop, we just heard from Tony Khan.
Well, and that was a mistake also, because here's another thing. There was another fucking egotistical moron that thought that he was a bigger deal and a bigger star to more people than he really was. And he thought that it was big news that a writer from one company would go to another company. That's why he had to stick himself on television, because everything obviously in wrestling always revolved around the writer. It's a blind spot for somebody that's a fucking mark for what they're now able to do, because somebody has put them in that position and they don't understand the old principle. Just because you can cut your own ear off doesn't make you Van Gogh. And they feature themselves. Or if they don't feature themselves, other guys just get brownie points by talking about them, because those guys know that this particular person is so proud of the position that he's able to be in because he gave it to himself that he wants it known.
Other than that, great promo. Ricky Starks is fantastic. I keep saying it week after week. Yes. Some guys can ham it up in the background and it gets a little too cheesy. His facial expressions are perfect. Every time. Perfect. And Taz is a great promo. I wish he had better material. I wish there was something better he was talking towards. But I like Team Taz. I can't complain about anything with Team Taz. I just hope this trend of nonstop mentions of Tony Khan by the commentators and now guys doing promos, I hope it comes to an end.
Well, it didn't on this program. There's more to come. But what happened next in this parade of terror? Private Party and Matt Hardy enter the arena, and on their entrance, Sammy Guevara, the biggest babyface of the night, the people were cheering and bringing the house down an hour before, attacks Matt Hardy from behind on the ramp, kicks shit out of him, and they go to the break. So he's a heel again. And the match coming back from the break was Private Party in a rematch from long ago against the aging Bucks. Remember when the Bucks made a big deal of putting Private Party over, and we explained how they actually made it look like a fluke and didn't do anything for the young guys?
That's like a year ago.
Yeah, well, everybody remembers that great match. So here's a babyface tag match. Now, kind of babyface tag match, because remember, we're still on the fence about the Bucks. We don't know what they're supposed to be either. But if they didn't have all their heels mad at each other, they'd have some to wrestle their babyfaces. But anyway, all through this match, which is the same thing they always do, Pieface Buck sold the leg that FTR had injured when they Pillmanized it with the chair last week, whatever. He sold the leg by doing everything that he always does exactly as he always did it, and then limping like he couldn't stand up in between everything. Is that what you saw?
Yes, although apparently he's really injured. Apparently this is legit.
Okay, but here's the thing. He still did. It's not whether you're really injured. It's whether you're portraying the injury. If he's really hurt, it's even worse. He did everything they would normally do and did it fine. But then in between everything, he would limp like he could barely walk, like the bone was actively broken and not even set. And then suddenly he'd do shit again and then he'd limp. The whole idea of portraying an injury is you work to where that you can't do those things and you have to do other things. And you can't execute those things. They even worked a spot at the end where Balding Buck went to tag old Pieface, but Pieface was selling his ankle on the apron, so Balding Buck was like, I'll not tag him, I'll keep going, I feel sorry for him. Here's the thing, they'd been doing move after move earlier, and old Pieface had been out on the floor for 5 fucking minutes before that Balding saw him sitting there selling his, I don't know, At one point, the Bucks on purpose specifically changed direction and rolled to the floor on opposite sides of the ring so Private Party could do the stereo dives that they've got put in their contracts. They must be allowed to jump over the top rope head first at least once a match. And the whole thing, it was a mess. When I was hoping for the finish, that's when they went to the break. So I was like, oh, Christ, we got twice more of this. Coming back from the break, watch, anybody wants to go back to the DVR. When they came back from the break in this match, Pieface's leg was fine. No limp. The Private Party guy dove on both of them, blew a kiss and spit all over the camera lens. I bet the cameraman loved that in the age of COVID. And then that's when Private Party did some contrived tag team shit to Balding Buck in the ring. And they did one move where it looked like he just hurt his face on the Buck's back. And then Balding went to tag him, but he wouldn't tag him, so he kept going. But seconds later, after this, the partner was on the apron and in such pain selling his leg that his brother didn't want to tag him in. Seconds later, Pieface comes in and spears Mark Quinn right out of his fucking boots just fine. And then Balding Buck hit a knee. This would have been a great finish. Got a 2 count. Would have been a great finish. People would have blown, such as were there. Then they did the same finish as before where they didn't really put the guys over. It was a fluke for a 2 count and then a reversal for a 2 count. During this, Matt couldn't walk. And then finally, they just hit double knee lifts to Mark Quinn from either side of his fucking head. 1, 2, 3. This is the worst habit that the Young Bucks have. Overkill. They actually went through about 4 or 5 good finishes there that would have really been good and snazzy and continued to not make it the finish and then used the one rotten finish that didn't look like shit, and that was the finish. And then FTR attacks him and gets heat on the fucking Bucks, and FTR goes to Pillmanize Pieface's leg again, and they milked it for so long, I'm like, okay, somebody's coming, because it was obvious. And here, that's where Paige came in, carrying his drink in to run off the fucking heels and Tully Blanchard. Then Olivier follows, dressed like a fucking unmade bed, as you mentioned. And he comes in the ring. Nobody touches. FTR leaves the ring, and they just wait on the floor with Tully. The Bucks get up to their feet, and they're jaw-jacking with FTR from 3 feet apart. Bucks at the ropes in the ring going, you no good so-and-sos, and FTR and Tully standing there going, you no good so-and-sos, after they tried to cripple this fucking guy. But here came Bill Watts' invisible wall. The first thing he told us in one of his locker room meetings, first thing I learned when I got to Mid-South, when the baby faces hit hot and you've been creating panic and mayhem and you bail out on the floor, there's no invisible wall that suddenly separates you from an ass kicking. If the baby faces see you standing there and waiting, they need to get the fuck out there and beat your ass, or elsewise they look like idiots. So while FTR and the Bucks jaw-jacked at each other from 3 feet apart and looked like idiots, there was tension between Paige and Olivier, where they made faces at each other and gave each other snide looks. As far as building a match goes, this was hot, stench-ridden garbage. And the save was as lackluster as anything I've ever seen, and the heels had nothing to run from. It was a fucking mess. Your thoughts?
I didn't like it. I'm not a fan of this style of match. So it didn't do it for me, so I'll talk just about the post-match. Love the idea of FTR getting in there and kicking some ass. The pause to wait for Paige to run out was ridiculous, and it killed any momentum the post-match beatdown had. Because why didn't they do it? We know why, because they were waiting for Paige to run out. And then the drama with Paige and Omega, enough already. Whoever thinks this is good, it's not. It really isn't. I read that, I guess, after the show, they couldn't fit this in on the show because of all these important matches. There was a promo where FTR and Tully were informed that AEW is banning Tully from ringside for the match at Full Gear because of all of his interference.
He didn't interfere.
Not here. Actually, I can't think of any matches he's interfered with. He had the mask on.
He pulled a leg about a month ago in a match.
And he had the mask on and attacked him with a chair, but that wasn't during a match. That was a promo.
Correct. They should have hung him over the ring like they did me in a straitjacket and a cherry picker. At least he'd have the best seat in the house for this shit.
Well, as we've learned, if he wants to get to ringside, just get a glass of scotch. They'll let you walk right out.
Next up, I've got to mention Tony Schiavone, the fashion plate of wrestling that he is. He was in the ring with Eddie Kingston and John Moxley to do an interview. Tony was wearing a nice suit jacket, a nice crisp shirt, a wonderful colorful tie, and pale wrinkled blue jeans and tennis shoes on the bottom half.
I'll leave him alone.
He looked like an executive from the head to the waist and like a goddamn delinquent from the fucking waist to the toes.
He's treating everything there the same way everyone else does. They have an executive vice president who's a main event wrestler who comes out dressed like a street person. He's fine.
Anyway, now that I've belittled Tony's wardrobe, Kingston and Moxley, Kingston promoted, the deal was they can't touch each other or their title matches off, which is a good stipulation to put in because normally you'd think they'd want to tear each other up. And Eddie Kingston promoted Moxley nose to nose in an uncomfortable fashion and made him sit there and take it, and I loved it. And then Moxley started out doing his dramatic, low-key kind of looking around and everything and wasn't going to look Kingston in the eye like a man. And fucking Kingston got back in his face and made him get into it. Did you see that when he started cutting him off and promoting him and yelling at him? Moxley came back and put some bass in his voice and did a good job from there. And it was a good job of looking like Kingston wanted to kill him or they couldn't touch, or the match was off. The fucking shit they were saying was pointed to each other, and you can tell they have a backstory and a history. They've known each other. I liked Kingston's delivery. Moxley always does a good promo. But now here's the thing. Is it me, or is the psychology backwards? Because shouldn't Moxley, the babyface, be in the position of wanting to fucking flip out and rip this guy limb from limb, but he can't, or he'll lose something? Whereas the way they did it, it was Kingston wanted more to break that stipulation and get a hold of Moxley, and Moxley was taunting him. The heel should be taunting the babyface. Hit me, and the match is off. Or that? Am I just crazy?
No, you're right. But again, this is the world of AEW where there are no baby faces and heels, just people with complex lives who are trying to get by. But with that said, Eddie Kingston is the best real promo in the business. He comes across real. I've known a lot of Eddie Kingstons in my life. Yeah. He comes across as real and authentic. I mean, he was nose to nose with Moxley. He didn't crack. He came across like a totally real guy. I can't say enough good about him. Now, he's got to deliver it in the ring, but he does a great job of getting you in the door.
Well, but now the problem is, you know what kind of match Kingston and Moxley are going to have. There's going to be some thumbtacks. There's probably going to be a baseball bat wrapped up in fucking Christmas tinsel or whatever. Who knows? But we'll see. But promos, that was a high point of this lackluster program. Speaking of promos, Pac speaks. We've been waiting 7 months for Pac to speak. We saw him under a tree. We saw him in the yard. We saw him in the dark. We saw him in the bars and the cars. There you are.
Tell me, Big Mama.
And he's been pissed and in solitude for 7 months. And I don't know, as they say across the pond, I tried to listen to what he was saying, and I don't know what he was on about. Was there a point made here? Besides the fact he's been gone 7 months because of COVID, and he's been quarantined, and he was in a lot of different isolated places in this audio or video while he was saying whatever he was saying.
He's been all alone. At one point, I think he was listening to Eddie Kingston do a promo at Penta and Phoenix saying, "Where's your partner?" And also, apparently, he knows someone who knows how to edit some video together.
That did look nice. He was in the house with himself.
And in multiple versions of himself. So obviously, he's alone, but he has at least one friend on the computer that can cut together a video for him and send it over to all of his friends in Jacksonville.
As far as verbally, what did he say? Did he make a good, strong point or just beat around the bush?
I don't know what his point was.
All right, moving on. Officer Bar Brady was with Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall, and they were doing a promo, or were about to do a promo, about the match next week they have with the Butcher, the Baker, and the Candlestick Maker, a.k.a. the Meat Gentleman and the Fishmonger. However, before Dustin got 4 words out and QT was mute, Allie came in. Allie, who used to be the Bunny, but before that was the Candlestick Maker in the Butcher and Baker's team, but then she became QT's girlfriend, but then she suddenly, with very little warning, was back with the Fishmonger. Allie comes in, and in a monotone line reading that sounded like she was trying to get a level for the audio guy, told QT that his credit cards were maxed up and threw them at him. And then suddenly the Butcher was come from behind with the kendo stick and beat up Dustin and QT, and here comes the Baker. And how coincidental it is that not only do they have a match next week, but just the first 10 seconds that Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall were on camera, Butcher and Baker were right there to beat him up. It's just amazing the way these coincidences keep happening.
You know, I love a good program where there's a long-term build. And obviously there's been a very long-term build towards this tag team program. It was so long-term I must have missed parts of it. But apparently Allie's back to being the evil bunny. However, she still had QT's wallet. What did she spend that money on? That's the question.
I wish we had another sponsor spot so we could do a segue there, but
how much money does QT have?
Enough to go to my bookie. All right, the next match. We got to bring this thing to a halt sooner or later. Next match, Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero versus Red Velvet with Brandy Rhodes. She's now a manager of a job girl. I instituted the cake rule. I fast forward anything with people named after cakes. So I fast forward to this match. Don't know what happened, don't care. But at the end of it, Vicky Guerrero was cutting a promo not on Red Velvet, but on Brandy. Why was Brandy there? I don't know. But Vicky made sure to mention that Tony Khan has been everything to them, and Tony Khan has made the match at Full Gear between whoever the fuck the match was. I don't know. Once again, put the Angel on television. We got an Angel to run Harrisburg. Good. Put him on TV. He'll stick with it. They did another sit-down package with everybody commenting on Paige and Olivier, and nothing about this or anybody's comments made me want to see it. And then suddenly, they did a video of all of Paige and Olivier's trials and triumphs, their victories and their consternation with each other, set to "Don't Know What You've Got Till It's Gone." They paid for that song for this. TNT didn't just play that song like we used to play shit on Memphis TV or in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. They paid for that song for this. This angle, this unfucking interesting program between these two people.
I'm glad they paid for that song. They should put it at the top of the show. Because it's the way I feel about wrestling.
Don't know what you got.
You don't know what it's got until it's
appreciate. Who would have ever thought that it would suddenly just cease to exist in front of our very eyes and we'd be watching kids on the playground instead? Speaking of kids on the playground, Darby Allin in the woods with a skateboard. This cannot end well when you start it like that. He comes up to a car that he's painted like his facial paint and face of TNT, breaks the window of the car out with a skateboard, starts it up, and starts driving it, and then suddenly there's a guy standing out in the field with a Cody mask on, and then the car drives toward the guy with the Cody mask on and runs over him. I'm assuming that Darby Allin was playing both parts, I guess, because it's another one of Darby Allin's spooky, weird videos where you don't know what the fuck's going on because he apparently doesn't either. So he was driving the car, then he's standing there, and the car, he took the bump over the car. Car legitimately ran him over. Yes, and I know a lot of people out there going to say, well, didn't Jerry Lawler do the angle where he got run over by a car? Yes, on live Memphis TV in one take so that he could promote the match that he was having coming up that Monday night with Eddie Gilbert and sell thousands of tickets and make money off of it.
And he did such a good job, he had to go out right away and kill it because the cops came to arrest Eddie Gilbert.
Because they had so many people call about the live television show that vehicular homicide just took place that the cops said, if you don't go back out there and show people you're still living, we're going to take you to jail. This was done in a pre-tape of a match that nobody gives a fuck about, where the guys are going to make the same amount of money anyway, win or lose, regardless of who buys it or what happens. And this fucking idiot just got run over by a car. I'm starting to hate this guy. But our main event was still to come. This was the main event, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I said about NXT earlier, that they've given up on a ratings war and they're just doing their own show? I think maybe they gave up on the ratings war here also. The main event was Colt Cabana and the Dork Jobbers against Billy and Austin Gunn and Cody. I know what they were going for here. They could have put it in the middle of the show and give us a main event with marquee talent to accomplish the same thing. I'm sure that's why the experienced and knowledgeable booker Tony Khan put Cody in this match to give it some name value, some star power, and also so that he could close it up with a promo. But still, why not let Billy and Austin Gunn make their debut against the Dork Jobbers and do the same thing with Austin Gunn that they did. It's the first time I've seen him. And surprise, surprise, no surprise here. He's a good-looking athlete that can work and didn't do any indie lucha bullshit. Because Billy Gunn would have probably disowned him. I'm not saying he's ready to be the next AEW champion, but you can tell he's got potential. And he's learning some things the right way. Billy Gunn is amazing at his age, that he even wants to associate with these people at his age, much less he's in that condition and can do that shit. But how was this a main event? It was a main event so Cody could do the promo at the end. Billy made a nice comeback. Did Cody ever get tagged in? Or did he just basically run across the ring and dive out on Colt Cabana for no reason as the spectacular spot to justify his presence?
I don't remember.
He just, at one point when Billy made the comeback after he did his thing, Cody ran across the ring, jumped up on the top, and dove out on Colt. Probably the only one he could trust to catch him. And then Austin Gunn beat a dork jobber. And that was fine to get Austin Gunn over, get new talent over, establish it. Nothing wrong with that at all. Then the other jobber got a chair, and he was trying to sneak in. There literally is Billy and Austin Gunn and Cody Rhodes and Arn Anderson in the ring with no heels in the ring because they've got their hands in the air. They've won the match. One of the little dork jobbers is sneaking in with a chair like he's going to lay waste to all four of those fucking guys. And Pockets comes out and KOs him with a super pocket punch. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because then the announcers could say, oh, and Pockets is facing Long John Silver, or whatever the fucking dork jobber's name is, Saturday on pay-per-view also. They just stuck that in. A match that didn't even need any promotion. A match didn't need booking to begin with on a pay-per-view. But they're going to have this, once again, amateur chair booking, armchair booking. Oh, well, makes that match mean something too. No, it looks stupid. The guy with the chair wasn't going to come in and do anything against four top guys like that have already won the fucking match to begin with. Pockets coming out just to get him on TV again and snatch the chair away from the guy and knock him out. Well, good. Then we don't need to have that match on Saturday. Put a hat on a hat. Fucking dipshits. And then Cody cut a promo on Darby and said he wasn't going to be the face of TNT, and he's a liar. So here the preeminent babyface in the company is calling one of their gimmick character babyfaces a liar because they can't figure out how to just figure out who's the babyface and who's the heel. So that's the way it went off the air. What did I miss about that spectacular contest?
Nothing. I fast-forwarded through most of it. I can't believe that was the main event they put on there. They announced, I guess, that Cody has now accepted new members into the Nightmare Collective, including Austin and Billy Gunn. And I understand
they're going to be selling timeshares if you want to be in the Nightmare Collective just over the holidays. They've got a deal coming up.
In Jacksonville. And I believe Red Velvet is also now in the Nightmare Family, if I said Nightmare Collective before. The Nightmare Family, everyone's in a group. I mean, Darby's one of the only guys not in a group. It's just, there are no baby faces, there are no heels. There are just little gangs that all hate each other for no reason.
And knock each other and tear each other down verbally. When a babyface says something about another babyface, such as they are a liar or they're dishonest or they can't be trusted, that hurts, and not in a good way.
And he's sitting there. They're showing him in the crowd sitting there listening to this guy calling him a piece of crap. And he just doesn't flinch. He just watches.
Well, there you have that programming, that fine programming. Any closing thoughts, Brian?
You don't know what you got until it's gone.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm looking at. Well, we will. Is there any last minute news on election coverage before we let the people go off the air here?
The margins have gotten even tighter.
Tighter?
I mean, yeah, you know, it's about to happen if it hasn't happened already. Let's see, Pennsylvania.
No, you mean tighter? He would be getting closer to Biden. It's better that the margin, Biden's looking better is what you're
excuse
saying.
me. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, things are looking a lot better. Biden now with the popular vote, it's like almost 5 million.
There you go. Isn't that's so ridiculous to everybody else in the rest of the world? The popular vote. The guy that got the most votes, but we still got to figure out who wins. Because we're the United States, and we run our entire fucking enterprise over here by what shit people wrote down 250 years ago.
The majority of the country is penalized for what the minority wants.
Do not let Montana get their feelings hurt, Brian. All right.
And the only other news I can tell you is from what I'm seeing on Twitter, apparently Donald Trump Jr. and Steve Bannon and others are doing everything they can to try to get people in the streets to attack,
riot,
to go to war. Yeah. Steve Bannon has called for Anthony Fauci and FBI Director Christopher Wray, who's a Republican, to be beheaded.
What?
Yeah, that clip is just here. I'm sure you'll see it when you go to Twitter.
To behead the head infectious disease doctor and the fucking head of the FBI.
Now, I haven't watched the clip yet, but hold on. Let me read exactly what it says here. I just scrolled past it, and now I can't find it. Yeah, that's what I saw. They called for him to be beheaded. And Donald Trump Jr. is calling for it to be all-out war.
This is a phrase that Donald Trump Jr. used, all-out war.
All-out war. Steve Bannon calls for Dr. Fauci and FBI Director Wray to be beheaded, quote, as a warning to the federal bureaucrats.
As a warning to the federal bureaucrats, we're going to behead one or two people. Is this fucking Iran or the United States?
Steve Bannon, yeah, because he's fought a lot of tough battles in his life, like a divorce.
Oh yeah, he's a tough guy. What are you, some kind of tough guy, Steve?
Here's Donald Trump Jr.'s tweet, which Twitter has labeled as some or all of the content shared in this tweet is disputed and might be misleading about an election or other civic process. The tweet is, the best thing for America's future is for real Donald Trump to go to total war over this election to expose all the fraud, cheating, dead, no longer in-state voters that has been going on for far too long. It's time to clean up this mess and stop looking like a banana republic. You lost by 5 million in the popular vote so far.
Projection is really a thing.
Oh, yeah.
They accuse Biden's a pedophile and this and that. Everything that they actually do, they accuse other people of.
Well, again, though, I said it before with the Trump kids, what else can they do? If they don't go out there and act like this, they're cut off. They have no job skills. There's nowhere else for them to go. There's no other future employment opportunities. When their father's business goes down, they're going to be screwed. They recently found out that whatever they thought they were going to inherit may or may not be there.
They're going to inherit a shitload of debt to fucking Russia.
Hopefully,
well, anyway,
we will have a new president by the time the drive-thru airs.
Yes, but we will keep you up to date on as the United States turns and our stupid electoral system and the stupid population that puts crazy people in charge. And hopefully we have dodged the Trump bullet, 2.5 more months, and we can shovel them out the door like the rest of the shit that gets drug in by the cat. Anyway, folks, until the drive-thru this weekend, where we're going to talk about more shitty wrestling and have fun doing it. And next week on The Experience, for the Steve Kornacki of pro wrestling podcasting, I'm the asshole of pro wrestling podcasting, bidding you a fond farewell and a happy thank you, fuck you, bye-bye, everybody.